Welcome to the PartyPoker.net World 10-Pin Masters. This is a fast and aggressive format, and we've seen some surprising defeats and some courageous wins at this tournament. Some have had it easy, and some have had to claw it through to the quarterfinals. Let's see the draw so far.
The quarterfinals underway with Chris Barnes, the defending champion, marching into the semi-finals after a narrow win over his Finnish rival. The American awaits the winner of our next clash. That's Jason Belmonte of Australia and Badar Alsheikh, the teenage sensation from Saudi Arabia.
Tonight, Badar Alsheikh takes on Jason Belmonte. Let's meet the players.
My name is Jason Belmonte and I'm from Australia. I'm playing Badar Alsheikh from Saudi Arabia.
I'm Badar Alsheikh from Saudi Arabia. I'm playing against Jason Belmonte from Australia.
Should be a good match, I hope. He's a very good bowler, and you know, we're both young, so we're not going to leave anything left in the tank after we're done.
He's a very great bowler. Maybe he's one of the best bowlers in the world.
He's going to be really, really good when he gets older. Not that he's not good now, but you know, every year with experience, he's going to get just better and better.
I'm comfortable. The lanes is very nice. I like the people. They are very nice people, and I wish to have good performance.
I feel good. You know, I like this lane, I like this format, and I like the arena we're playing. So, you know, I'm going to give him a run for his money. Don't worry about that.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much indeed, and a very, very warm welcome here to the Metrodome in Barnsley. It's the PartyPoker.net World 10-Pin Masters. Quarter-final staging brought to you by Matchroom Sport. Here on the purpose-built single lane, the players are here to lift the coveted title. And of course, the $30,000 first prize. Well, it's quarter-final stages. Let's meet the players. Firstly, would you please welcome, all the way from Australia, he is the Euro Challenge champion. It's Jason Belmonte.
Jason Belmonte caused one of the big upsets of round one when he crushed the former champion Jens Nickel of Germany. Jason is 23, comes from New South Wales in Australia, and has won the Super Bowl High Roller as well as back-to-back Kuwait Open titles. And who'd bet against a guy nicknamed Hollywood?
And now, ladies and gentlemen, would you please welcome from the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia and the Asian Games champion, ladies and gentlemen, it's Badar Alsheikh.
Badar Alsheikh is still only 19, yet he already has a worldwide reputation. The youngster squeezing past England's Darren Cundy in round one. Not afraid of playing away from home after success in countries as far apart as Korea and Germany, and in contests as tough as the AMF World Cup and the Asian Championship, where he's collected a string of gold medals. Your commentators for this clash are Cass Edwards and first, Simon Golding.
The second of our quarter-finals about to get underway. 4 practice balls for both these competitors before things really start to heat up. It's a match between two young stars in the world of 10-pin bowling, and Cass Edwards, these two guys, they basically are the future.
Oh, Simon, without a doubt, yes. Jason, the best bowler that's come out of Australia since cricketing superstar Shane Warne, and Badra, recent double gold medalist at the Asian Games.
Of this man, he's a real showman. We've nicknamed him Hollywood, although he's pretty much known worldwide as Belmo. And there are his stats so far. Average revs 550, but he frequently goes over 600 when he wants to put that extra bit of fizz on the ball. 16 strikes so far in the competition, and only that one open frame. And with stats like that, you know why he's in the quarter-final. The Australian in great form, and he's the sort of confident, outward-going character that you would expect to excel in this head-to-head encounter on this single-lane format. His opponent then, just a youngster, but because of his successes back in the World Cup, the Kubica AMF World Cup in 2005, where he achieved 3rd place. We've known about him for some time now, Cass, and in 10-pin bowling, it's great to be the young buck. It's great to be a player that's performing so well at just 19 years of age, but let's add 10 years to that. This boy's going to be good.
Well, he'll still be around in 10 years' time, no doubt. As I say, double gold medal winner in the recent Asian Games. singles Masters winner, and actually won the doubles with his brother Hassan, so it's certainly keeping the gold in the family, shall we say.
Average revs just a bit lower, and as you will have heard from several of our commentators, Cass included, when you have your thumb in the ball and you're bowling single-handed, you can't quite produce the same amount of revs as the two-handers. And we've only got one two-hander left in the competition. Palermo out in his quarter-final match to PBA bowler Chris Barnes. Chris Barnes through to the semi-final, and he awaits the winner of this match. So the matches just keep getting better and better.
I'm absolutely amazed. It's quite a highlight of anyone's bowling career to sit and watch these top players from all around the world, including PBA superstar Chris Barnes.
Badar looks locked in, doesn't he?
Just look absolutely fantastic. This lane is freshly dressed with lane conditioner. Compliments of UK's #1 tech, Ross Gibson, our friends from Complete Leisure.
Yeah, it's an interesting relationship that the lane conditioning operative has with the players.
Right, shake hands, gentlemen. Wish you good luck, good bowling.
Same as the relationship of the match referee and the players. Bernie White just out to wish the players good luck. He'll be presiding over this match, as indeed he is for the whole of the tournament. But I think the players are very pleased with the work that Ross has done so far at this tournament.
Absolutely, yes. A nice medium to high scoring condition. Great consistency with the use of the lane conditioning machine, the Kegel Lane Walker, which is quite a new innovation. And it's Belmonte to open up proceedings.
And the second quarter final not underway as Jason Belmonte would have liked it. He often points out, yes, it's great to arrive at the pocket with plenty of revs and plenty of power, but if you're off target, you can leave yourself some pretty horrible shots.
Yes, indeed, just a light hit to start with. Didn't quite get up to the pocket. High revolutions on the ball. And just a little bit concerned there. Just makes the head pin and leaves himself the 2, 4 and the 8 pin. Clutch to spare, which he takes away straight away.
That is a very nice spare to hit early doors. Badar, though, will be looking to get off the mark with a strike. There's that two-handed style, and slight concern as he watches it down the lane, but that was never really in doubt.
Simon, as we've spoken before, and I know it's very early, but we have mentioned that the player that gets off to the goodest start and starts stringing those strikes, and we're talking not 1s and 2s, but 4s, 5s and 6 strikes in a row, they're the ones that are likely to end up being the winner. That's what you have to do at this highest level of bowling. And Badar is right in the 1-3 pocket, first shot, and that is a great strike to start with.
Bang on cue from the right-handed bowler, right-handed single-handed bowler. Jason Belmonte bowls to the right-hand side, but has both hands on the ball. That allows him just to get that extra bit of rip and revolution on his delivery. But you still got to get it into the pocket. It's got to be in the right place between that head pin and that 3 pin. Once again, a bit of a light hit.
Yeah, very high speed there. The ball just sailed on, didn't it? Didn't quite make the head pin, almost identical to the last shot, speed-wise. And again, it's left that 2 and that 8 pin standing, that little sleeper we've spoken about in the past. Not the best start for Jason, and he's going to have some accuracy here to take these 2 away. Must cover that back pin at the 8 pin. Must cover that back pin at the 8 pin. Just going for some high revs, and lots of hook, and takes it away very nicely.
That's pretty much what Belmo's looking for. He's looking for that ball to hook back in very hard into the pocket, but hasn't quite got his distances right, but he's sparing perfect so far. Alsheikh then working a strike from the first frame. That's not the best start for Belmonte, but not over by a long chalk this match.
Well, it's a very short format, just 2 games. These guys are normally used to playing between 20 and 30 games each tournament they enter. This is just a short sprint for them, 2 games, but it's so important to get out in front and try and stay there. Build up that early lead.
Almost exactly the same spare as was left by Belmonte in that first frame.
Yeah, that ball just skidding on, not quite getting up in the back end. The last 20 feet of the lane is bone dry. That's where the high friction bowling balls dig into the lane and get bite and grip and rip back to the pocket, but that one just didn't quite make it. So again, accuracy on the spare, needs to cover all 3 pins of this little cluster spare he's left.
We just caught a little sight of the sticker that Badar has on his left shoe as he spares that one nicely. What's that all about, Cass?
Yeah, Badra's got a little aid memoir on the left toe of his bowling shoe. Nice and relaxed, I think he said it is what he's written on there. Written in English. Just a little aid memoir for him. There it is. Nice and easy, that's what it says. So under pressure, he just needs to look at his left foot and he gets all the advice that he needs.
The sports psychologists have been at work. And Belmonte into the pocket this time, and when he makes it, then there's usually only one result. It's the first strike from the Australian.
Yes, that's encouraging for Jason. He's hit the pocket first time and ripped the rack, so one assumes that he's now lined up and may well stay there, which will be interesting to see.
Looking happy enough and relaxed. He's here to win, there's no doubt about that. 23 years of age, you just don't fear anybody. Badar coming off the back of that 7 spare. He's back into it as well. This is starting to warm up quite nicely now.
Yeah, a bit of a double dump here on the lane. That one bounced off his hand. Didn't get it right, but the ball's in the right place. It's on the lane, it's rotated right up into the pocket and taken a strike. So in his eyes, that looks absolutely perfect.
And he didn't want to make eye contact there, did he, with his coach, Mario Joseph, who is right in the front row of the audience. Yes. Knew he got away with it, and that's how things look after the first 3 frames. Very little to tell between the two. Belmonte just 2 pins down. There's a double.
Oh, Belmonte's getting locked in. Now obviously warmed up under these TV lights. This is what it's all about. 585 revs per minute on that ball. Not quite breaking the 600 mark, but you can see the damage that that ball does when it enters the pocket. There's a pin stand, no chance. That's the line he's shooting, down between 15 and 10 board, in between second and third arrow, and making the pocket very nicely.
Well, he's been a bit deeper than that in the previous round, so he's clearly working to the outside of the lane. Nice work from Badar. Got to spend a bit of time with the young man from the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia back in 2005 as he progressed through that World Cup tournament, and he's a real gentleman. Absolutely loves his bowling and very ambitious within the world of Tenpin and within life as well. He's an engineer. That's what he's training as at the moment, and he's engineering a pretty good score here.
I understand Badra's actually going to live in Australia for a couple of years, going to university there, and will no doubt meet up with Jason and cross on the lanes somewhere at a tournament or the other.
Great work from Belmonte to turn that into a turkey. 3 strikes in a row then from the Australian.
Yeah, a couple of low 5s there, because Jason double dumped that one as well on the lane. Bounced it off the hand, straight into the lane, 2 hits and hit the pocket as well, and that's why he's reacted like that. Wasn't over happy with the shot, very happy with the result. 3 strikes in a row.
He's as honest as they come, isn't he? Jason Belmonte wears his heart on his sleeve. He started bowling at a very young age, and at 5 he had a league average of 117 with a high game score of 179. That's why he bowls with 2 hands. As Badar Alsheikh turns his double into a turkey as well. These two matching each other strike for strike at the moment, but Jason unable to pick the ball up and bowl it single-handed, so 2 hands was the norm, and he actually rolled his first 10-pin bowl down the alley at 18 months of age. They start him young in Australia.
Probably the reason why he's a 2-handed player. At that sort of age, the bowling balls will be much too heavy to carry single-handed.
Oh, no. Problems.
Absolutely, yes. That was almost a 2-8-10 split. The ball's hurried on down the lane. Only just made the headpin, although it was coming back into the pocket. It's left an 8-10. This is likely to be an open frame. Big split, and it is.
Well, he takes his medicine, just accepting that that was going to be open, took out one of the pins at least. And Badar now, if he can turn this turkey into a four-bagger, he's going to be okay. Jason Belmonte, once again, with a bit of pressure in this game.
Yeah, that's the only problem with this high rotating ball. If you're not in the pocket, you really don't break the pins up so much. You can leave yourself lots of nasty little splits and cluster spares.
Well, it's not a problem for him yet.
Our stats tell us that his last ball was through the 600 revolutions per minute. As I say, unfortunately, it was not in the pocket. Badar to take the lead.
Great does so. Oh, that's fantastic bowling.
4 strikes in a row. Takes advantage of Belmonte's open frame. And now there's daylight between them. See, the rev rate is 100 revs per minute less than Belmonte. He still makes the pocket and carries all 10 pins, so there's the difference between the two. You don't have to have those rev rates to carry pins as long as you're in the pocket.
Those are the available maximums. 544 for Belmonte, 580 for his opponent. And Belmonte straight back into the pocket. I wonder if this is going to be the pattern of the game. Cass, it could all come down to whether Badar makes any errors.
Likewise with Belmonte, that 8-10 split was in the middle of 4 strikes in a row, and it was so expensive. It cost him dearly, and he knows it.
Well, there's his line over that third arrow. So not quite as wide as he was going at the start of this game. He's come a little deeper, but he's having to make some changes. He's having to force the issue at the moment, whereas Badar Alsheikh, well, he was looking keyed in. He's got a chance to spare this one. There's a chance to get that messenger across and take out the Tenpin.
Pretty difficult split here. Left 4 pins standing. It's the 2, 4, 8 and the 10 off of a ball that sailed out just a little bit too wide. The speed was quite high. Just didn't get his radar directed, and Mario Joseph, national coach of the Saudi team, looks on with great concern. This too could be an open frame, and he could well have let Jason back in the match here. Gave it a try, but only 2 pins, I'm afraid.
Yeah, we're back pretty close again. 242 now, the maximum that is available to Badar Alsheikh. 244 for Jason Belmonte. Well, Jason's been pretty consistent in terms of his speed. Just 0.2 of a kilometre deviation. Belmonte. Well, Jason's been pretty consistent in terms of his speed. Just 0.2 of a kilometre deviation, so he's got that part of his game right. The consistency's there, but he's varied those rev rates quite a bit. He's just searching for something on the lane at the moment, isn't he?
Absolutely, yes, and it could be that the lane is changing slightly. Belmonte back with a double, jumps on Badra's open frame.
Seek and you shall find, I think is the phrase.
Absolutely, yes, and it may well be that the lane's changing a little bit. The oil has been now moved around by both players, playing to the right-hand side of the lane. The heat from these television lights burning down onto the lane, that oil moves around, and it almost teases with the players, and they can only tell by the ball reaction where the oil has moved, and they have to make adjustments in their setup accordingly.
Strike rate just dropping a touch for Belmonte, down to 66%. We've seen Chris Barnes over 70% on his striking rates. Badar then try to get rid of that last open frame. He needs a double really to cancel that out, and that's the first of them.
Well, pretty fortunate there. He sailed a bit wide and managed to get the ball back to the pocket. Left the Tenpin standing, but our old favourite messenger, the headpin, comes off the left-hand kickback and goes right across the pin deck to take that Tenpin away. Nice and steady at the line. Nice still head, great follow-through. Where's that one going to go? Well, you watch the headpin off the left-hand kickback, and there it goes, takes the Tenpin away. Great pin action.
Same for Belmonte. There's a second turkey of this first game for the Australian. Just the blemish of that open frame in the 6th.
Simon, can you believe we're already down to the 9th frame? That was Belmonte's foundation frame, frame number 9.
Well, as ever, Cass, it's flying by. It's just the quality of these players. It's an absolute privilege to watch them in action.
We thank, obviously, our Stato man and Andrew Penny and our Cat's Lane system here for these details coming through about ball speeds and rotation on the ball.
Good work. Badar turns it into a double, so in effect he has cancelled out that open frame that he left, and his foundation frame is also a strike.
Yeah, both set up for a big 10th frame and just 2 pins difference. Both working on 2 strikes. Actually, Belmonte working on 3 strikes, but going into the 10th frame, just 2 pins in Belmonte's favour.
Good tournament stats for Badar Alsheikh. He'll be pretty pleased with those at the moment. Belmonte then to close out this first game. 244 is the maximum available if he strikes through, and the emotions now starting to spill over. Big celebration from Belmo after this one. Drop the revs down. Got the result.
A nice bit of body language there. He realised that that's a very important ball. It gives him the opportunity to shoot 2 more strikes in the 10th frame. Off the sheet for 244, which will give him the lead, as slight as it may be. He should be leading starting game number 2.
This is great stuff from Jason Belmonte.
Yeah, you can see the aggression in his body language, and he's letting out a few shouts as well. He knows when that ball's right. Absolute run in the pocket, carries all 10 pins. Nice to see.
Now 1 more strike and he will definitely lead. Could be 2 pins the lead, or if Badar Alsheikh misses one of his strikes, maybe a little more than that. But it's going to be close. Oh, he got it. Touch of luck.
Just a change of line there on that last ball. Jason went fishing just to see if there was anything out on the outside of the lane. Got the reaction he was looking for and made another strike. Finished in grand style with 6 in a row.
So 544, the maximum still available to Belmonte, but 244 from that first game. Once again, he's turned in some good numbers.
Interestingly, 3 pins down on his average for his first round match when he averaged 247. So he's there or thereabouts. It was a great game.
Badar composing himself for 3 very important deliveries. No, straight through the head pin. Overreacted when it got to the dry part of the lane, and it's left him the spare again. It's going to cost him some shots here, isn't it? His maximum's moved down to 219 against Belmonte's 244 at the moment.
High through the head pin, leaves himself the 3, 6 and 10 pin cluster spare on the right hand side of the lane. Now he needs to be accurate. Mario looking quite concerned. Yeah, about 3 boards inside his previous strike line. Needs to keep this one nice and tight. Must hit that head pin. Oh dear, and that's a big open frame in frame number 10.
And his score plummets to 207. So it is Jason Belmonte of Australia. Tricky start for him, but came back very strongly to close out that game, and he leads very comfortably at the moment.
Welcome back to the PartyPoker.net World 10-Pin Masters. Now this is where the greats of the game come together under the pressure of the lights. Let's get back to the game where Jason Belmonte and Badar Alsheikh are playing to try and score that place in the semi-final.
Badar has got a few things to think about now in this match. He started so solidly, had that wonderful 4-bagger through the middle of the first game, and it was all looking good. He should have really had a lead on Belmonte, but then a very frustrating open frame for him in frame 7.
Yeah, 7 strikes in the game, which should have been good enough, but unfortunately the 2 big open frames that you're talking about reduced his score down to just over 200.
Yeah, that first open knocked his confidence, didn't it? And then the open frame right at the end destroyed his score, unfortunately.
Yeah, the 10th frame, the 3 shots in the 10th frame gives you the opportunity to make 30 pins, but he only made 9, so it really reduced his chances and opened up a big window of opportunity for Jason, who is 37 pins in the lead. And he's not the sort of player that you can crawl those pins back against. So from frame number 1, my friend from Saudi Arabia is very much under pressure. He's going to have to dig deep now and be nice and easy.
He's just going to have to read the sticker on his shoe. That's what it says, just a little mental note. It's a cue, a mental cue that he uses to remind him how he wants to swing his arm. And a lot of players do use that nice and easy phrase. It works for them. Great work from Belmonte to open his account up with a strike.
Jens Nickel looks on, enjoying himself here, first round loser.
The man that was beaten by Belmonte.
Nothing nice and easy about this shot. It's all blast and thunder, isn't it? Absolutely rips the rack. Those pins stand no chance.
It's all turned round for Jason. 15 minutes ago he was hanging his head, sat in that chair, wondering where the next strike was coming from. And we said it was really in the hands of this young man, Badar Alsheikh, to make a mistake, and he's come up with 2 big mistakes, unfortunately for him, at the start of this second game.
He's left the 3 and the 9-pin sleeper on the right-hand side from a ball that's high through the head pin. Frustrated look on his face now. What's gone wrong? Has the lane changed? And maybe he's now looking to make changes, but he's running out of frames. Maybe he needs to change something in his setup just to get back in that pocket. In the meantime, Belmonte looks on, sitting with a strike in frame number 1 and the opportunity to double up in frame 2. So a 37-pin lead could well be in frame number 1 and the opportunity to double up in frame 2. So a 37-pin lead could well be extended here. Badar looking for the spare. Makes it nicely.
Yeah, that was a lot tougher than it looked. And gets a little tap of the hand in congratulation. Mario Joseph, his coach, living through every single delivery with his young charge. He'd be a coach, eh?
Absolutely, yeah. Simon, the turning point so far in his match was the 6th in a row that Jason Belmonte ended game number 1 with, and as I say, we spoke earlier, it's the player that will string 4, 5 and 6 strikes together. Belmo, a full start. He'll come back, he'll regroup. I've no idea what caught his eye line, but he did the right thing. He stopped. He will now regroup and start all over again. Maybe just something caught his eye line. Maybe the fingers just slipped off the ball there a little bit.
Did the right thing, though.
Absolutely. He's working on that double, and he really needs it. This to extend his lead.
Oh, worth the wait.
Very professional. What can you say? Strike, it says on the posters in the audience. Double time, it says, for Jason Belmonte. And that lead extends.
Yeah, looking to avenge the defeat that he suffered to Badar Alsheikh, his opponent, just a few weeks ago.
Yeah, it was the first time they'd met head-to-head in match-playing tournament, and I think it was Badar that shot. Oh, there's his aid memoir on his shoe. Nice and easy. I was saying Badar shot 258, I think it was, to win the game.
Needs to find that pocket, doesn't he, Cass?
Absolutely, he must do. Again, he's wide, light on the head pin, but he's managed to hit him thin and make him spin, as we say. And it's the first strike for Badar Alsheikh in game number 2. Pretty fortunate, very high backswing, nice follow through and steady at the line. Just not quite right, but gets the maximum result for it.
Controlled celebration for the moment for the man from the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. For the man from Australia, though, he's working a double.
Well, this is a stage of the game where Belmonte wants to wrap it up. If he can come out with 4 or 5 strikes straight out the trap. He will sew this game up really early. Just a fraction high there, leaves the 4-pin standing. So close to making 3 in a row, but not quite good enough.
Well, this game was never going to be over. There was always going to be a sting in the tail of this one, and Badar will be hoping that Jason continues to throw a few of these.
And at the same time that he can make some strikes.
Yeah, there's always 2 sides to the story, isn't there?
Belmonte uses his low friction hard spare ball to take that single pin away. And there you can see the difference. It's 38 pins at this stage with 7 frames to go.
There's the sticker. Nice and easy. Well, it's helping him remember that that's what he has to do. It's so easy in this short format in front of the crowd to get carried away. And you start doing all sorts of things you wouldn't normally do in training. Well, he's unlucky there. A couple of really decent messengers flying, but none of them went near the Tenpin.
And the one thing he really didn't need was a ringing Tenpin in the pocket. Gets back on his strike line, looking for the double. He's almost down on one knee, and that is so frustrating. I can't quite read his lips and say what he's saying. He really needed that double, and unfortunately, it can only be a spare. You'll have to straighten this spare ball out, slide it across the lane from the left-hand side. Nice and straight, no room for error. It's good enough. It's, spares are not what Badar needs at this particular time.
He had a real chance there to get back at Jason Belmonte. This was nicely spared. That's a lot tougher than you think it is, because it's one of the regulation shots that these players make. It can seem a little easy, but they concentrate very, very hard to take those pins out in the corners.
Yes, they're the pins that lose games. Belmonte a little bit wide, still rips the rack. Such an explosion of energy in those pins. Just unbelievable. Back on his strike line after a spare. Let's look at this. Great follow through from Jason. Real concentration, and look at those pins jumping everywhere.
Yeah, as things stand at the moment, it is that run that Jason Belmonte had at the end of the first game that has put him in pole position. And in some ways, Cass, the pressure's off him. He just has to match his opponent from here on in. If Badar spares, he just has to spare, and he'll be fine.
Absolutely, yes. Once you've got that advantage, obviously we'd like to try and keep it, possibly extend it. And who knows, the way Belmonte's lining himself up, that could well do. That could well happen. That's called a twister pin. It's the 5-pin that's twisting around on its spot, but it wouldn't go. Fraction light in the pocket, and Badar's looking for some inspiration somewhere. Just not running at the moment for the young man from the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, he will definitely be feeling that the luck's against him. Well, those first 2 frames of this second game, he missed the pocket, and that's fair enough. He knows what the problem was there, but he's had 2 pocket hits that have left pins standing as well. That's where the frustration will start to creep in. There is sometimes no rhyme or reason to the way the pins react in this sport.
Very fortunate he's such a young man bowling at such a high level on the world Tenpin bowling scene. I'm sure he'll be back for many, many years into competitions like this and others around the world, and supporting and promoting Tenpin bowling in the Middle East, just as Jason has done around the world for the last couple of years.
Turns that single strike into a double. So he's back on the strike trail again, and that's where Badar Alsheikh needs to be. The gap is just starting to creep out again. That's the maximums available if they strike off from here. 5-2-3 to Belmonte, 4-5-4 to Alsheikh. He's a long way off the pace.
Growing up, you know, we all had to start somewhere, and junior leagues was one place where we all started. And, you know, watching the kids today, it brings back some old memories, some good, some bad. Yeah, well, the way I started and got introduced was my family built a bowling centre where I live. And, you know, instead of taking me to a daycare centre or something like that, they used to give me a pair of shoes and a ball and let me go crazy. So that's how it all started. My career highlights that I truly believe are the tip-top, winning in Las Vegas, the high roller event. I've never ever dreamed of winning that tournament, and winning that was amazing. Bowling 300 on this particular program. I mean, I've seen the program, and to bowl 300 is a dream come true. The World Masters is one of the most exciting and prestigious tournaments of the year, and it comes around once a year, and it's an invitational, so if you don't come, you don't get a chance to bowl it. So every year it's really special, and if you can put this on your CV and say you've won it, you know, there are millions and millions of bowlers out there that want to play this tournament, and not many people get the opportunity. So me personally, winning the Masters it's right up there.
I can't see 69 pins being brought back in 5 frames against Jason Belmonte. The young man's just got to sort his line out. He's changed the ball, and unfortunately that one just sailed on a bit straight. Got to the pocket, but didn't hook up. There was no reaction in the back end. Leaves himself the 2 and the 7 pin split in the corner. Some great camera work from our guys down on in the arena. Just didn't react the way he wanted. Made the change because he needed something extra to get back into the match. Unfortunately, it didn't appear to be the right change.
An almost realisation after that last shot when he looked across at coach Mario Joseph that maybe this one has eluded him. Oh, great spare. That's just super bowling.
Yeah, it slides the ball between the 2 and the 7. Bounces the ball off one to the other. Good looking spare. Unfortunately, spares are not what he needs right now. He needs some strikes and a bit of inspiration. But as I say, he's presented himself well at this tournament. He's the debutant, he's the new boy. I'm sure we'll be seeing him again if in fact this is the end of his event. He's himself well at this tournament. He's the debutant, he's the new boy. I'm sure we'll be seeing him again if in fact this is the end of his event.
He's a very likeable guy. Spends a lot of time chatting away with everybody at the event. But as you say, Cass, we'll see him many, many times in the future. Belmonte, a turkey for him. That might just have put the lid on this match.
To go with the double that he started with in frames 1 and 2, he's pacing 279 for this second game. It'll be fantastic if he can go right off the sheet.
It'll be fantastic for Belmonte and Australian bowling, definitely. Not so good for this young man. Very well done. Takes some character to come back from the disappointments that Badar Alsheikh has had to suffer in this quarter-final. And he's come back with a strike. As we often say, it's time to leave this Barnsley crowd with something to remember him by.
Yeah, it's been a big learning curve for Badra, and I'm sure he's taken advantage of that. Playing in this sort of arena style. There's his score. It's decent. It's not quite high enough, I'm afraid, for this level at this particular event. Belmonte, will he turn the screw? Goes to close the game up. Another 4 strikes in a row and still paces 279 in the second game.
Yeah, he turns it big time, and Belmonte on course for another big finish.
Well, I guess he's the #1 amateur player, if you can call him an amateur, in the world at the moment. To all intents and purposes, it's a full-time bowler, so that is a professional. Flying off to Florida, he tells me, after this event, and then back to Sweden, Middle East, and eventually gets back home to South Australia in about 3 weeks' time.
That's better. Messenger doing its job this time for Badar, and he turns in a double. Probably too little, too late. But a nice couple of words exchanged between he and Belmonte. Along the lines of unlucky, mate, I should think, from Jason Belmonte. But
yeah, as I say, they've met before in competition, and you know, they acknowledge one another's and respect one another. For Badra, it's almost a damage limitation job just at the moment. Belmonte's on a rip-up, absolutely ripping this lane apart.
5-bagger for Belmonte. I guess we can start to talk about the semi-final then. The two Bs, Belmonte versus Barnes, the world's top amateur versus many people's choice as the world's top pro.
Certainly going to be a match that could have been the final, but yes, it will be the first semi-final. The Battle of the Bs. Monte's looking pretty relaxed now. I think he's very much aware that the game is over. He's certainly not going to give anything away. The Badr can't catch up.
Nice work though, Turkey from Badar Alsheikh, and as I said before, character required to keep smiling through this, to try and turn in the best possible finish that you can get, because there's always that never say never element to Tenpin. But with Belmonte in this sort of form, I think you can pretty much rule that out. 4-4-2, the maximum still available if he can strike off the sheet from here.
Yeah, he'll be through the 200 barrier for the second game. One more for Belmonte. Not quite, just a fraction high on the hairpin. Leaves the 4 and the 7 standing in the corner. He's not going to worry about that. Straightforward spare.
Well, some terrific quarter-finals still to come, involving some of the biggest names in the world of Tenpin. Jason Belmonte and Chris Barnes in semi-final, one amongst them. But some great games to come, the likes of Dominic Barrett and Remy Ong, all still involved in this tournament.
Oh, Paul Moore and Alex Luth. Just give them a mention, shall we?
Moore's many people's favourite, isn't he, to finally do it this year. And he looks so good in his first round match, it has to be said.
Yeah, his third attempt, beaten last year and the year before. Hoping to go one better this year. 10th frame for Badar Alsheikh. Shoots 4 strikes in a row, and he's finishing in some sort of style here. He's going out with his head held high.
Yeah, well played.
Showing some of the form that he showed in Doha recently at the Asian Games, where he won the 2 gold medals. What a prospect for the future this young man is. The pioneer of bowling, Tenpin bowling from the Middle East. Many years at the highest level in front of him. 2 bonus balls in the 10th frame. Well, I just tried to open the lane up and open his shoulders up on that last shot, but it didn't quite work. A little wry smile. Gives himself the 2-8 in the 10 pin. Not a nasty split, but it doesn't matter. It's the 10th frame, and unfortunately the match is all over for Badr.
Nice to see that sort of reaction, though. Very easy to get yourself into a downward spiral of emotions when things aren't going your way on this single lane. Good work. Just took those 2 pins out, but leaves it open as he did in the first game in the second. And that means that Jason Belmonte can come out to throw his final 3 balls and enjoy himself a little bit. We had a lot of enjoyment in his game with Jens Nickel. We had 2 trick shots to finish off from Belmo, and with that strike I think the crowd will demand that we see something. But as always, players very careful that they are being respectful to their opponents. I think once you've established that you and your opponent are both singing from the same song sheet up on the stage, then you can have a bit of fun with it, and I don't think Badr will mind if Jason throws down a couple of trick shots.
What's he got? What's going to be a backup left-handed shot, one-handed shot? Could be one through his legs, maybe.
Well, the between the legs, he says he hasn't made that many times, but he certainly nailed it for us in the first round, and it was a cracker.
Yep, all right, he's just taking a rest while we have a re-rack. The pins haven't quite appeared. Now they're down. Now what's Jason going to do? Oh, conventional 2-hand delivery.
Yeah, he wants to lock into this lane, doesn't he, Cass? He wants to send a message out to a certain Chris Barnes ahead of the semi-final. No antics at all on the stage yet from Jason. He's tempted, you can see that.
He needs a strike to go through the 500 barrier. This is a trick shot. Oh, it's the two-handed
There you
backup.
Oh, nearly.
Only takes 9.
Nearly. Good effort. 2.56 he finishes with in his second game, and he does make the 500 aggregate across the 2 games. That's a nice touch between these 2 players. Well, Badar Alsheikh might have nice and easy on the sticker on his shoe, but it was anything but in this quarter-final. He's been a welcome addition to this tournament, but he takes his leave, and it's Jason Belmonte of Australia that goes through to the semi-final.
So 2 quarter-finals settled, and the defending champion Chris Barnes knows he'll face a red-hot Jason Belmonte in the semi-finals. Next up, Alex Liu of Malaysia takes on Paul Moore of England, a runner-up here for the past 2 years.
These bowlers are all great friends, but at the lane there's no time to play nice. Jason Belmonte took the lead with some impressive deliveries to win his place in the semi-final. Alex Liu, Asian ranking #1, and Paul Moore with a string of wins to his name join us next time to take their place in the semi-final. Don't forget to be there for the partypoker.net World 10-Pin Masters.